Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dion. I call this the crazy troll nation of YouTube. I call this upside down chapstick. This is holiday cocoa scented and flavored. I picked it at random. I'm out of it. I'll tell you why when I'm doing what we're doing. Oh, it's an experiment. Let me get my lab coat. If you're new here, thank you. Welcome for being here. I appreciate you for stopping by. I hope that this video is interesting to you. I am curious of what it's going to look like, but let me get into the intro. What's on my face first? I did not do my brows because I'm thinking since we're experimenting, we're going to do some extra experimenting, and we're going to see. And it's something that I've seen done on Instagram posts, and I want to see how it's going to look on me. So I just have on right now the Fenty primer and the Fenty foundation. I wear shade 335. That is it on my face. I did pull out bronzer, blush, highlight for later, but we'll see if I even feel like doing that. So I call this the Crazy Troll Nation Fenty eyeshadow primer. Still scraping. I call this the Crazy Troll Nation of YouTube. The crazy, just enjoying the videos you do, knowing it's okay to be your authentic self, knowing that it's okay to seem and to be different than other people, trying not to emulate anyone else, trying not to hide who you really are, just being yourself and just rocking it. So that's the crazy part, because some people are like, okay, well, this person is different, and they may think it's something wrong with it. It's not anything wrong with you. You know, we're interesting in our differences, and I think that they should be celebrated. So just rock who you are and know that it is okay. The troll part is not caring too much about the beauty community standards. You set the standard for yourself. Watching beauty related content, you need to buy this, you need to use this tool, you need to use this technique, you need to do this. No, what you need to do is whatever the heck you want to do, because you're good and grown if you're watching my channel. You set the standard for yourself. The bottom line here at the Crazy Troll Nation of YouTube is self-acceptance and self-love. Embracing your natural features, enhancing them if you want to, when you want to, but never feeling like you have to. Love yourself for who you are and for how you look, even without face paint on, because you are amazing. So just know that. And also, regarding what people may say, what you think about yourself is far more important than what other people think about you. So just wear whatever you want to, however you want to, and walk around with your head up high and have confidence in knowing that you are amazing. I do curse on my channel sometimes because I curse sometimes, period. So what we're doing in this video, way overdue. Lethal Cosmetics. These 6 shades are from the Wildflower palette. This is Untamed, and it is a Duochrome. And I did swatches on my face. I did looks with it, with these other shades from Wildflower palette. I always want to say Wildfire. That's why I always like hesitate after I say wild, because I'm trying to get it right in my mind, which can be a scary place. And I remember saying I wanted to see how this looked over a base, and I think I did swatches on my face, but I wanted to put it on my lid. And y'all, I am so late doing this. It is ridiculous. And so the experiment is we're going to do just that. We're going to use these are shader brushes. They're both exactly the same. They're from Dose of Colors. And we're going to use that to put on an eyeshadow base. We're going to use MAC's Paint Pot and Black Mirror on one eye. And that is what this looks like. Basic gel liner. Oh, my dad just texted me. And on the other eye, we're going to use MAC's Fluidline and Dip Down, which is brown. The fluid lines are designed to be eyeliners. The paint pots are designed to be shadow bases. Both can be used for shadow bases. Both can be used for eyeliners. And I have used them both for both, and they work the same. The only difference is that the paint pots are a little more dry. Some people swear by soft ochre as a shadow base, or they just use it as an eye primer. That shade is not a good shade for me. And some people use, I forget what the other one is, but none of them are my skin tone, I'll put it that way. And I thought Contemplative State was going to be, which is this one, but it's too mustardy, and so I don't even use this really as a shadow base. Now if I had a third eye, excuse me, I would do this one, do the black to brown, and do this one. And so you know what I'm wondering? if the eye with the brown, if we want to put some of Contemplative State on the first half of the lid. Do I have another? I don't have a third brush like this one. So we're going to take, what is this? This is actually an Ulta Beauty Buffing Concealer brush. So I think we're going to try that. So, and we're going to see, and I am going to try and do a complete look. But first, let's get the bases on. So I was saying the paint pots are more dry. They do apply fine. When it dries, it dries. And so if you're going to use the paint pots as a base, do one eye at a time as the base and then put the shadow on top. The Fluidlines, they're creamier. You do have more wiggle room, but again, once it dries, it dries. And so if you use it as a shadow base, just, oh, I'm glad I didn't drop that. So if you use it as a shadow base, just put a little bit on, blend it. If you need more, put it on, blend it. For me, sometimes I have trouble blending it, the paint pot particularly, because once it dries, and it dries pretty quick. And so that's my challenge with that. But that's what we're going to do. So this side, we're going to do MAC's paint pot in Black Mirror. So the situation, I don't know when the video aired. It was the Natasha Denona Duochrome, the bottom row, soft matte easy eyeshadow look. And I was talking about dental stuff. So I'm not going to get into all of that except to say that appointment was this morning. And I was so friggin' nervous. And it was not as bad as I thought. And even when I was there, I told them, they were like, well, how are you? I'm like, nervous. And because I really was. And I think it's one of those things where you expect the best but prepare for the worst. And so bottom line is he did feel it. Like he didn't even have any qualms about it. The dental hygienist, you know, took my vitals, took an x-ray of the area, and she said he would get them right away. Well, how their system is set up, you know, she said he'll get the x-rays right away. And so after she did the x-ray, she said, I'm gonna send him a message and let him know that we're ready. So I said, okay. And he came in like 2 minutes after she sent the message. And he's like, how are you? I'm like, nervous. And he's like, okay, so we're going to do this and this and this and that. And he asked me what compound he used before for the filling. I'm like, I said, I don't remember. I said, I'm not good with medical technical terms. I said, I'm sure you told me, because he does tell me like everything he's using, what he's doing. I don't understand. To me, it's not, you know, he doesn't speak troll or ebonics, and so I don't know what it was. But he used a different compound today. And I remember before when he filled it, well, refilled it, because the original filling had fell out. It was like 20-plus-year-old filling. And he was like, oh, well, we can do this one or that one. And I'm like, I don't know the difference. So he used the opposite one that he used before. And so he did do the thing and put the back part of the tooth for that, and he filled it. He put a bite guard in, thinking it would help my jaw not lock, and also it keeps your tongue away from the area, so it really just cordons off that area, and I can just like rest my jaw on it and not try to keep my jaw open. I have TMJ issues, for those of you who don't know. TMJ is temporomandibular joint, that hinge where your upper and bottom jawbone meet, and some doctors call it TMJD, temporomandibular joint disorder. Some just say TMJ. And people are like, what's TMJ? We all have it. It's your temporomandibular joint. But they just use it as an acronym for, like, if your jaw locks open or locks shut, you know, blah, blah, blah. Anyway. So, yeah, he filled it when he was done. I did go through the thing before he started. If it locks, just, you know, keep it that way. Do what you got to do. He said, yeah, you do always tell me that. But it didn't lock. But when he was done, my jaw was just stiff, because the process was maybe, I want to say 40, 50 minutes. And so my jaw was just really stiff. And so when he was done everything and he took the bite guard out, he was like, okay, see if you can bite down. And it was just like, and he was like, is it locked? And I'm like, I don't think so. But it took a while for me to actually be able to, like, I couldn't just go. It was just like, And he's just sitting there just watching me, and hygienist was just watching me. But anyway, so it was okay. And my jaw was numb it was numb, and it's still partially numb. It was on this side and the back. And I can still feel where he did the injections for the numbing agent, and it's sore. It's still sore. Just a tiny bit numb, but still sore from the injection and just the pressure. So as you saw when I put this on, I did a little bit at a time, so that way I can get an even coat. When I first used paint pots and fluid lines as, eyeshadow base, I had trouble with it, and I asked a friend of mine how does she use it, because I know a lot of people just put it on, but for me, because I don't know if it's just my skin or whatever, or if their skin is more oily than mine, I don't know, but I was having trouble blending it out. But you'll notice I put a little at a time, blended it right away, and even around the edges, just trying to feather it, because if I don't feather and get a blend going, it's going to be harsh unless I completely cover it with shadow. And because I kind of want to do a smoky look today, I do want some darkness on the outer corner, but up here you'll see I went a little bit lighter and I feathered more so that it does have a blend. If you want to do an easy smoky eye, you can leave this like this. Put some liner on your lower lash line, put on some mascara, and that can be it. Like this, but it took me a long time to get to this point where I can put it on and it look decent and look blended and not look crazy. And so for me, it's just put a little at a time, blend it out really well, add a little bit at a time if you want a little bit more, blend it out really well, because once it's on, it is on. And I'm trying to feather this and it's not feathering. And this angle I like, but I would like more right here, but we're not going to force it. I'm not going to put more. We're just going to leave it. And so when I was asking a friend of mine, like, how does she use it? She said what was that? Felt like something slid down my throat. Sorry if you heard that. Oh my gosh. When they were done, she was like, would you like to rinse? And I'm like, I don't know what I would like right now. And I didn't feel like pieces and stuff, because the guard that he put in, it like just blocked off everything. So there wasn't any residue or little pieces of anything like in my mouth. And so I really kind of like that they used that. And it was easier for him too, because you don't got to worry about, okay, you know, suction out, rinse this, do that, because it really just like blocked off that area. She said she still uses an eyeshadow primer, and then she puts on the paint pot. So I started doing that, and I find for me, I'm not going to say it helps it blend, because for me the Fenty primer is a tacky primer, but what it does is it makes the removal process easier than just having the paint pot on my bare skin. But then again, I don't have oily lids, and so I don't know if that would make a difference. So we're going to take the brown. This is the Fluidline, which is designed to be an eyeliner. And so I'm putting it a little at a time, and you see I'm still feathering, because I do want to get this to blend before I put Contemplative State there. And this one, I'm finding I need to be a little rough with it to get it to blend, and I don't know why. It may be because I'm just trying to do a small area versus the entire lid, but this is more dry putting it on than the paint pot. So after all of that I said, like, this is dry already. Like, I'm trying to blend it, but this is it. Or maybe I was just, excuse me for smacking, maybe I was just distracted because I was talking when I did the other eye. So I just put a little bit more, and I want to have like some type of shape up top. And you see how it gets dark where you put it, which is why I was saying, if you're using one of the paint pots or fluid lines that's not your complexion, I would suggest, you know how I'm doing it, just a little at a time, because otherwise if you just put a lot, it's going to be a dark patch and it may be hard to blend out. But if your complexion is soft ochre, or I forget what the other one is that's popular amongst people with lighter complexions than I am, they can just put it on and it blends into their skin tone. So in essence, it doesn't matter how much you put on or try to blend it out or whatever. But because we're using a black and a brown, it is not my complexion. Yeah, I have to do this. I want to get a blend right here, but this is dry already. This is not blending. I'm gonna take just a tiny bit more, and I'm gonna try and, well, not try, but I'm gonna put some right here. So we're just trying to get a straight line at this point, because I am still gonna put contemplative state on the first half of the lid, and I didn't intend to do that. And so you see how it looks patchy, right? Because once it dries, and I know I keep saying that, and once it's there, but once you put shadow on top of it, it should be okay. And so try not to be tempted like I am doing right now, and I keep tapping very lightly in, and it is just a tiny bit that I'm putting on at a time. But the shadow will help to cover it up, and it won't look patchy, hopefully. So that is what that looks like. So yeah, this is a mess. Like this could be your smoky eye because the color is consistent. This is patchy as hell. And I'm surprised because the fluid lines are more creamy than the paint pots. And so that surprised me. And so I don't know why that difference happened. And now we're going to take contemplative state, and we're going to dip into this one. This is a paint pot. Paint pot, fluid line, paint pot. And so we're going to put this on the first half of the lid. So this, I really was hoping it would be, we're going to overlap because I don't want to have a sharp line. So I'm hoping that the eyeshadow will cover that. I forget who it was. They use contemplative state as an eyeshadow base. Like on my lid part, it looks fine. But when I was first trying to use these as an eyeshadow base, I was putting it all the way to my brow bone. And so it was challenging because I didn't always want to put a brow bone color. But this color is not a good brow bone shade for me unless I'm going for a messy grunge look. And so I always felt it necessary to put shadow there. And that's when she said she puts on primer and she doesn't take the paint pot all the way up. So that's what I started doing. And I'm thinking I need to just use these more. I don't use the black one often as a liner, and I keep saying I'm going to use it as a base, but for no particular reason I just kind of don't. And maybe because I'm just doing like regular looks, whatever regular is. But so we have those on. So now we're going, I didn't even pull out a brush. Yes, I did. We're going to use the same brush because we're going to be using the same shade. And we're going to see how this turns out. And we're going to see if we can get a look out of it. And we'll figure brows later, lower lash line, blah, blah, blah. So this is Untamed. And I'm going to use a sponge tip applicator and just swipe it on the back of my hand. So that is Untamed. So you see, I see pink, I see gold, I see lavender. Or maybe just lavender and gold. Let me see if I can do a wider swatch. So when I got home, the VA hospital in Wilmington, there's a BJ's over there, and their gas is always 3 to 5 cents cheaper than the BJ's near me. So I stopped and got gas. I went in, I purchased a few things. I had 5 coupons. I used all 5 coupons. That's the only thing I purchased. And then closer to home, I stopped at ShopRite, got some Triscuits and some Luigi's mango flavored Italian ice and a pint of ice cream, Talenti's vanilla caramel, because I didn't trust myself to chew anything, but I wanted something, and it was comfort food. So this is Untamed. So it's this is a nice shade. So it is just a duochrome. Well, right here, I keep thinking I'm seeing pink, but I'm seeing mostly just the lavender and the gold, but some angles. So this is Untamed. And this is what we're going to put on the lid. So I came home, tried to drink some water, which was challenging because it was like on my face. And I put on a movie. I'm wondering if this is going to give me fallout because this is not tacky. Yeah, all of these are completely dry. They're not tacky. And so I ate the pint of ice cream, which was very good. I got the vanilla caramel swirl. I like other flavors. I like the caramel cookie crunch. I like, you know, chocolate chip peanut butter. But I'm just like, I didn't trust myself to chew anything because I didn't want to bite my jaw. And my jaw was still, you know, sore. And it's still sore right now. So I ate the pint of ice cream. By the time I finished the pint of ice cream, she pretty. I was able to drink water without it dribbling down my chin. And started feeling sleepy. I only had an hour sleep between going to bed and getting up for my appointment. And so I knew I was going to sleep, and plus the trauma of the discomfort for my jaw. And so I think I got in bed maybe about 4:30. And I did my usual, you know, every 90 minutes or so wake up, which is not on purpose. And I think it was about almost 9 o'clock tonight that I actually got up, and I'm hungry. So I'm going to make some ramen noodles because they're soft. This shade, y'all, if I would have thought about it, I would have just put primer on the first half of the lid. But again, this is Untamed. This is Untamed. This is Untamed over a black base. And so even though it's gold and lavender, and I do see a hint of pink every now and then. Even though it's gold and lavender, it's green. It's like a green and gold over that black. Oh, I should have did this a long time ago. Y'all, this is way overdue. This is probably like 6 months overdue. So we're going to take the same brush because we're using the same shade. And do I have fallout? Y'all, for some reason, I do not take off the little plastic things on mirrors. Oh, that's so satisfying. Because I am using them more for checking for, I shouldn't have did that. I didn't see much until I patted this. This is the brush that had the foundation and primer. I'm going to end up either putting on more foundation or something because, yeah. And this shade does have potential to fall out, but because I usually put it directly on top of the Fenty primer, it doesn't fall out because like how I pat, like I'm doing right now, it will just stick to the primer. If I try to layer it on itself, that's when I start to get fallout because layering it on itself is not an adhesive. So this is over, ooh, that's pretty. That's over Contemplative State. So this is over a black base. It's golden green. This is bringing out the gold and still kind of greenish from what I'm seeing. Let me finish this up. No, we had 23 minutes. I didn't think it was going to be this long, but I think it's because I'm talking and I'm in slow motion and I'm not feeling well. And some of y'all are probably like, if you're new here, you're probably like, why is she doing a video when she don't feel well? It's just what we do here. We do videos. And I do enjoy doing videos. If you've been here before, you know I'm going to do a video. There's times when I have a migraine. When it lightens up, I'll do the video. And then afterward, go lay back down, turn all the lights off and everything. But if I'm physically able to do a video, I do a video. Even if I'm not like at my best. Because if I waited to be 100% my best, I probably wouldn't do videos at all because sometimes it's just as good as it gets. And so I just take advantage of that moment and just do whatever is in my calendar to do. And there are some things that don't get done. So what's interesting is that it does look a little darker over the brown, but it's interesting how over Contemplative State, it brought out the lightness in it. So again, this is Untamed. That lavender and that greeny gold. I just want to say gold though. But over here is gold and it's green. Over Contemplative State, it brings out the gold more. And over the brown, it brings out the green more. So if you want the depth of Untamed, and so it does just look like this, but it's a Duochrome. If you want the depth of this, put it over a black. If you just want to intensify the gold aspect, put it over something like Contemplative State, a lighter base. If you want an in-between, go with a brown. What I will say also is because we have the black all over, we're seeing the complete shift from inward to outward, outward to inward. Because we put half and half, you're only seeing half. Like you're only going to see the shift here for Contemplative State. And we're only going to see the shift here for the brown. And so that's something to think about as well. I do like it over the black because I like dark. And I do like bold too. This is cute. I would do it for inner corner. But this I would do, yeah, I like how that looks. But this right here, only because it's darker. So we have all that on. Let me check for fallout under this eye. And I was trying to, oh, girl. We're just going to take a little bit more foundation because that'll be easier than trying to use concealer. So we're going to put a little bit of that on. What I was thinking to do with my brows, I'm still going to do it. I'm going to use a different color though. And so if you're curious about what shadows will look like over a base, just do an experiment, even if it's just on your hand or, you know, on your forehead like I do. But just experiment to see, because a base does, as you see, as you clearly see, change what the shadow is going to look like on your eye. For me, I've heard people swear by a white base. When I use a white base, all that does is dull down and highly desaturate the shadow. And so it may be just my complexion. People swear by it. I tried it. The shadow looked horrible. It looked desaturated. It looked dusty. It looked pigmented in the pan, excuse me, and pigmented just over primer. But over a white base, that shadow was, it was horrendous. It was dusty. It was ashy, very desaturated, very muted. And so when you hear people saying, oh, try it, try this, try that, go ahead and try it. And I'm glad I did try it because I found out it don't work for me. But a black base or brown or even Contemplative State will bring out more of those colors or change the colors, because this to be green and gold, that's not what this is. And so that could make it fun too, you know, taking a duochrome or a multichrome and putting it over a base just to see what it's going to turn into. This is more true to the gold part over Contemplative State because that's more or less a neutral base, and over the brown it just still kind of turns a little green. But it's fun to do. It's fun to experiment with. So I'm glad that we did it. I don't know if I'm going to do the rest of my face because I didn't think this was going to be this long. But what I was thinking to do with my brows, this is going to look funky. Oh, you know what? Before I do that though, I had out, man, I am like, what? I'm looking in the palette because I was thinking of what to take for outer corner. I do recommend Untamed. This goes with this shade, and this shade. This one is a little iffy just because of the tones of it. But I think in the video I did, we made it work. Like if it's the purple shift, it works. But the gold, it was kind of like, huh? And this is the neon reactive shade too, so that might be why. So I have out Xenon. I had a brush out for that. I don't know what I did with it. But we're going to just lightly, not that, just do it. And actually, yeah, so we're just going to take a little bit of the black and we're going to just put that on the outer corner. So we're just doing a really quick, I like it. Just a really quick look. And we're going to feather in. So just, wow. So just a little bit. Oh, and I don't want to take this up here because we're not going to put a brow bone shade. And so I don't want to go high up. And plus, I don't know what I was going to say. That's pretty. That is pretty. I'm not liking this gap right here, but I don't know what to do about it. We're just going to leave it because we're just experimenting. So we're not doing a complete look, so to speak. But this will give you just an idea of what you can do with Untamed over base, any multi-chrome or duochrome, or any shimmer for that matter. I got loud, I apologize. Any shimmer for that matter over a base, and just take a dark shade for outer corner if you want to just add a little bit of smoke. I like dark. I like bright too. Like this I really like. And I like how it does look like it's like 2 different shades on the lid. Like that is really bomb. So that's an easy one and done. I don't do one and dones, and actually this is a 2 and done because we're adding a black onto the outer corner. But I just wanted something else over here. And I did have this at the ready sitting right here, and that's why I purchased this, for this black and for this smoke gray. This is a nice silver. I would say I'd put this on, but this is borderline ashy as far as under my brow bone. So we're just going to leave the brow bone like it is. And even putting this black over here, it's a lot deeper. And I only dipped in, I think, once or twice over here. This side I dipped in like 3 or 4 times. And I think it's because it is just over a lighter base. And I'm not going heavy with it because I don't want it too dark. But I'm noticing it is still lighter than this side. And so that's something to consider too. Using the same shades and they show up different. And I do think it's because of course, the shadow, and the shadow being over the base that we used. This would be an easy halo look too. Or not. We're not going to do it. I'm just like out of my mind right now. So, yeah, so that's been my day. I am still sleepy. I tapped in again. If you've had any type of extensive medical work in general, it can really just wipe you out and just make you feel tired because your body needs to heal itself. And our body best does that when we're resting and sleeping. Okay, now it's getting darker, but I went in a lot. This is a look. Both of these are looks. But we're not going to keep playing with it because we're not doing full looks. If I was, I would do something. We're going to put a gray on our lower lash line. If it was a full look, I would have done my brows. I would have something for... This is NYX Retractable Eyeliner in gray. Excuse me for clearing my throat. Oh, my doctor did prescribe another inhaler and a decongestant. And so I took that when I got home. And I'm actually feeling better already as far as my breathing and the decongestion. Initially, I had asked for it to be mailed. But since I was going to be there today, and the incompetent nurse that was taking over for the regular nurse hadn't read the message in 2 days, I said, I'll be there today and I can pick it up. And so I did go around in circles because she is incompetent. And then finally the doctor messaged and straightened it out, which is what he usually does. And I feel bad for him that, you know, the nurses are there so he doesn't have to do certain things. But because she's where she is, he usually has to step in to resolve the issue. This is just ridiculous. But anyway, so I did get another inhaler. And decongestant. I'm thinking this because I like purples with greens. Let's do that one. But then I was thinking this one because it's blue and it'll be something different. And now I'm thinking of what I could put for upper lash line. Because if I do this, then I would do Fortune. Is it Fortune? Yeah. No, I don't know. The blue one. But I do like it dark though. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to put anything under there. I'm going to take this brush and I'm just going to buff out this eyeliner. This is, I think I said it, NYX Retractable Eyeliner. The shade is gray. So we're just going to do this as gently as we can. And because I have wrinkles, you see how it's moving my skin. And so sometimes I will just do this way and then this way. But I'm just going back and forth now before it gets dry, before it dries down. Because sometimes it will still blend out without moving my skin too much, even though you see my skin moving. So I don't, and that's why some people, they pull, because then it gives a straight line and it's easier and the skin doesn't move as much. But I'm not a fan of pulling because I already have wrinkles. And so that's why I usually don't do that. I like this. I really like this gray because it's like just the perfect amount of smoke for my lower lash line. I was going to dip into it, but it's a pencil. And so thank you for being here with me for this experiment. I'm excited to see what the brows are going to look like because it's something I've never done. I've seen it and I'm like, oh wow, that's nice. Also, this isn't a dense brush. I think I have it the way we want it. I don't know, we just want to leave it. We're just going to leave it. I'm going to wipe this off my hand because I almost forgot. And I'll put my hand on my lap and be like, why is these different colors on my clothes? And so we just wipe that off with a microfiber cloth. I hope this was helpful, seeing what it is swatched out and seeing what black base, somewhat neutral to your complexion base, and a brown base, and putting a black on the outer corner. So what we're going to do for brows, this might be too much. We're going to take a green. I've seen on Instagram people playing around with doing looks and using whatever color or even eyeshadow for their brows. And so that's why I had that brush out, because I was going to use that for that. Let me just take out another one of those brushes. We're going to just take this one because it's a little bit stiff, and this is from Crown, came in a subscription box or something, I think. And now I'm thinking I'm nervous. This is Fortune, and this is why I didn't do my brows. We're going to see. So we're going to take a little bit and we're going to just lightly feather, because for this too, when it dries, y'all, it dries. And I'm going to just do my natural brow shape. We're not doing anything crazy. This is a totally different green. We are going to come down with whatever's left on the brush. And I think this will help frame the eye look too, because you see how this is just, we're going to dip in. This is I was going to say my first time, but it's not. I did, I don't know if it was like a frosted look, silver, blue, Ice Queen, something. And I did do, excuse me for that ignorant sounding snort. And I did do a gray, I think, or a blue for my brows, but that was a particular look. This, I like it. I done did something new and I like it. Wow. So we're tapping in, and this is, I chose this brush because it is tapered, because I wanted to lightly feather like right here. So I'm not going for any type of shape. I'm just going by the shape of my brows, and my brows are not symmetrical. So how it looks is how it's going to look. And I'm not fancy to do like stencils and all of that stuff. So I'm tapping in again. I like this. This might be another thing I do. This is so much lighter than the other side, but I don't want to put a lot of pressure. I do want them somewhat the same, but then my brows are not the same. Like this area here. All right, let me just leave that, but just fill in. I think that's as good as it's going to get. And then we're just going to drag this down. And I am pressing hard to drag this down. And you see how there's a color differentiation, because I have hair here. And once I get here, there's no hair. So that's why it's lighter on the tail that I'm drawing, because there's no hair there. So this is going directly on top of skin. And I don't want to keep adding more, because then I might mess up the shape. So more or less, this is the shape of what my brows used to be before I overplucked. And so we're going to add some more down here. I overplucked on purpose, somewhat to the same point, or what I thought was the same point, so that I could try to get my tails to look the same when I use a brow product. This is looking so light green, and this is so dark green. But this one, still, this is a little brighter, but it's more consistent. I'm going to tap in again, and I'm going lightly because I don't want to pick up too much. I don't want to apply too much and then it be too dark. But then also, It's looking like very green over here. And this is a green liner. Let me do this. This is Fortune. That's the color. And you see how when you blend it down, like it does blend out and more or less sheer out. So this is what that looks like. And once it dries, even on my upper lash line. And this one is an ultra matte, and it does last until I forcibly remove it. So that's Fortune. And when I use this on my upper lash line, it does look borderline like deep blue or like a deep black. We're going to leave this like this. This side is further down. I don't want to keep messing with it. Time is getting long. I don't have to worry about getting this on my clothes because once this dries, it ain't going to go nowhere. I'm going to have to use like Dawn dish detergent to get that off. We're going to go. I know some of y'all love the matchy. I know some of y'all love the matchy. So what we're going to do, we're not going to finish the face. What we're going to do, we're going to take Squirt. We didn't do upper lash line, and we're not going to do upper lash line. We're going to take Squirt. I was thinking about that Dior Show mascara, the 1288, which is blue, and I was trying to figure out why is it so wet. And I'm wondering if it's because I was putting it over the Lancome Sills Booster mascara. That's what I was wondering. The Lancome Sills Boost mascara base. It's a mascara primer. Excuse me if I confused you. But I'm not sure. Because I remember liking the Dior Show mascara before, the black one I used to use like eons ago. And I love that it is a brush. And not, like this is plasticky, but it's not plasticky in a bothersome kind of way. As some wands are. But the last few times I use it, I'm like, this is just like seriously just Eleanor is a brighter green. I know I switched sentences and right now I don't even remember what I was going to say. But I want to do Dark Forest. I haven't used Dark Forest in a while. It's a darker green because I just want darker. And I'm picking up everyone except, wait a minute, where's she at? Don't tell me this whole hiding from me. Okay, wait a minute. Oh, here it is. Okay, so I know she over here. So this is Dark Forest. Let's do this for comparison. Dark Forest number 29. Sephora collection. Eleanor Martine Cosmetics. That's that one. I didn't think I was really going to like this because it's cooler tone. But the looks I wear it with, it looks nice. And so I do actually like it and it surprised me. But I want darker today. We're going to just take off a little bit of chapstick. You may or may not have seen when I reorganized my eyeshadows. And I still had the brushes. Well, I put the brushes on this side of the eyeshadow and face palette thing. But I put them on the far edge of the table. Which actually works better. So we're gonna put this on. And so you see how, even though this says it's a, what does it say? It's a forest green. To me, it's like very deep. Sea Queen is described as a moss green. But to me, that looks blue. Does it say moss green? No, Sea Queen, I don't know what it says. It just says Sea Queen. I think it did when I looked at the description, it said moss green. And this one is Dark Forest, and it says, I believe, forest green on the Sephora website. But this does not always look green to me. I see it on other people and it looks green, so I think it's my complexion. This is all jacked up. When is my lipstick not jacked up? I should have edited this part out. Oh, man. You know, if I would freaking stop talking. That's what it is. Trying to talk through. Putting on a lip. Y'all. right, let's try to fix this. All right, so I'm scraping off. All right, let me look down here. Try to get it straight. And because my lips are not symmetrical, going along my lip line accentuates that they're not symmetrical. I love this. To me, this looks like a deep blue, not a green. We are colorful today. This is going to be it for this video. Let me know if it was helpful seeing how Untamed, a gold lavender shift over a black base, this eye, and a complexion tone. I almost put my hand upside down on my pants here, and a brown base over here. And so even with that, you can change the colors of your duochrome or multichrome, putting two different bases on, one on first half of the lid, one on the second half of the lid, and it still looks decent. And to me, this is looking like 3 shades, because I see, looking at it right here, I see the lightness of the gold here, and then I see almost like a golden grayish, like right here. But then we did put the black over here, so maybe that's what that's playing off of. And then we have the deeper green over here, just how this has a deep green and gold hue to it. So that is it. This is a look. This is a friggin' look, especially having done the brows. My first time doing this, and I'm digging it. It was easier than I thought, and I like it. This is a look. If you like matchy matchy, I think you would have liked it with Eleanor better. This one versus Dark Forest from Sephora collection, but I want something different. And also, I think this looking blue, it plays a little bit off of the brows because the brows are darker. That'll be it for this video. Let me know what you think of this experiment. Let me know if it was interesting to you, and that'll be it. Thank you for being here. As always, self-acceptance, self-love. That is the Crazy Troll Nation way. Thank you, and you will see me soon.